And welcome. This time around, we'll be taking a quick look at the Venlab VM500A multimeter. It comes standard with everything you need to get going, including spare fuses for the low current and high current settings. The packaging is very reasonable. Product is delivered without any damage. Comes with basic and some not so basic accessories like the thermocouple and a very simple but easy to read manual. The battery compartment is held by a screw that unfortunately is not captive, but that seems common on these less expensive meters. So if you're out in the field, you could very easily lose that that screw if you're trying to replace it. But other than that, very reasonable, comes with everything you need to get going. All right, so here we have the smaller brother of the VM600A, the VM500A, with only a little bit less accuracy. In a really nice form factor. Remember, this one I had a problem with the power switch, that there was an intermittency, and I was able to fix that by just taking it apart and reseating the board in it. This guy has no such problem. I didn't expect there was a common problem anyways, but this guy is also a true RMS multimeter, has non-contact voltage detection, has all the bells and whistles in a much smaller form factor, a magnet to allow it to attach to the sides of things. So you can see there the magnet grabs very well. It's a ceramic magnet, which is kind of interesting. It has a 10 amp mode, and it does milliamps. I think the other one, the other one has microamps. This one goes down to milliamps, but that's no big deal. You're not too often doing that with a multimeter anyways, and if you are, then you're probably caring about more accuracy than you'd want in a really inexpensive meter. This meter, for the price, is an amazing deal. When I saw it, it was like 24 bucks, something like that. This is one that you could just store one in each car, one at work for ease of access. Inexpensive price, really great features. And let's just take a look at some of the measurements. Here's non-contact voltage measurement, and we've seen this before. All right, so look at the non-contact voltage detection. There you go. The black wire's hot. These two are not. No problem. Easily detects it. So as long as we're here, let's switch to voltage and take a look at AC. I like how they've got the protective caps over the end of the probes so that if you want the not to short out against something next to them, they're great for that. There you go. Let's see if we can make good connection inside here. Oh, we're on DC mode. Hit function. Now we'll be on AC. And there you go, 119.5. So on voltage, it's not auto scaling like some of them. Will just switch to what they see as the largest voltage, which this one is trying to read voltage by averaging over the sine wave, which is kind of silly, but that's okay. I knew it was AC, and you can just hit the function button and swap between the two, and that's no problem. Have a DC power supply here. Internal meter set a constant voltage, means 23.4 volts. And this guy says 23.56. I'd be more inclined to believe this. All right, so I've got a fluke next to it just for comparison, and you can see they're reading within 40 millivolts of each other, which is not bad at all considering this guy's probably hardly calibrated, and this one hasn't been calibrated in a very long time. I've just taken the case off the fluke if you're wondering why it looks different, but no problem there. Another really useful feature with these guys is continuity. So let's take a look at that. So I've got some clip leads. These did not come with the meter, but just for continuity, I want to use the exact same probes on both meters. So here is a it says it's a 1.0 mega ohm resistor, 5%, but it's reading 1.196 on here. That's a hard value to read because it's such a high resistance. And look at that, 1.198. which is pretty darn close to 1.196. That's within 2K of the reading on the fluke. So that's a pretty impressive thing. Now if we switch functions, we're in continuity mode. Works great. And next function is diode test, and I happen to have a diode here. So that puts a milliamp forward current through the diode and tells you what voltage that is, 0.56 volts. Let's put the fluke in diode mode. I believe the Fluke also puts a milliamp. Now it's entirely possible 0.530, so that's 30 millivolts different, not bad. I'm not even sure if they both use a milliamp. I'm pretty sure they do. I think I read the manual, and I don't have the manual in front of me right now. Last mode here is capacitance. And we have here a capacitor, a 16 volt, 1500 microfarad capacitor. .661 millifarads, which is 1500 microfarads. This guy, we'll put it in capacitance mode. I don't know if the Fluke goes that high. I remember the Fluke being kind of limited. Yep, out of range for the Fluke. Very nice. It also has frequency and duty cycle, which is very handy if you're measuring AC measurements. Then it has 1.5, 9, and 12 volt modes. The 1.5, 9, and 12 volt modes are specifically designed to put a load on a battery so you can check it accurately. That's a really handy feature. And then it does current, which is, you know, standard. It does 10 amps, much like the Fluke. And you switch the positive probe over to the 10 amp mode, and then you can just dial up some current and make a measurement of it. Last but not least, it includes a temperature setting, which is really handy, and comes with a thermocouple, which is a really nice plus. You can always buy aftermarket versions of this. They come with different tips. This is a raw pair of wires that have been welded together on the end. So inexpensive way to make a thermocouple, and you've got to be careful about touching that to a conductive surface. But, you know, it came with it for free, included in the package. So it's a great deal. I like the probes. They're reasonable. The wire is okay. It's not super flexible. It's PVC rather than rubber or silicone, but you know, you're not expecting that to come with a meter. You could pay more for probes than all of this cost together without any problem at all. The stand could be a more, you know, sturdy plastic, but you know, I think it'll be fine as long as you don't, you know, hit anything on it too hard. It comes with two AAAs that it works on. Oh, and there's also a light in this guy. The LED light is not terribly bright. I forget where, oh, here's the flashlight mode. So when it's on, there you go. Not a terribly bright flashlight, but in a dark situation will work in a pinch. So really not complaining. And the backlight on this is okay as well. Doesn't work in super bright settings like my shooting here, but all in all, I give this guy a thumbs up, especially for the price. 19 to 24 bucks. Absolutely cannot complain. Kind of meter you can leave one in the garage, one in your workspace, one in your car or each of your cars for emergencies. Really handy, and you won't worry about it. One thing is keep the batteries out of the inside, because if you store it any period of time, especially in a hot place like your car, the batteries can leak. So just store the batteries separately, and you should be good to go. Change them periodically. All right, thanks for watching. Hope you find it useful. Hope to see you next time.